Hello, everyone, and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week, we're all going to be Blues Brothers for this show in its entirety, and I'm sure there's a million more puns that can happen from here on out. So let's just get started talking about our post-release impressions of the first limited job in Final Fantasy XIV, the Blue Mage. I'm one of your hosts, Michael, Mr. Happy Pobo. Of course, joining me is Slyh, aka Slythefox, aka Slyh, Aka you, my boy Blue. See, that one, you did that one. Little did you know years ago that it would come down to this.
It's gonna be all puns tonight, isn't it? Puns and gates. Puns and gates.
Yeah, you don't, just don't get too blue in the gills about it, Slyh. It's okay. All right. There you go. All right, and you know what? We liked him so much last week that we decided to bring him back this week, and he's been doing some Blue Mage stuff. He's done some things and some wads and some playing and stuff. Yeah, we brought back Ethys.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What did you do that for?
That's a great question. I mean, there were way better guests we could have chosen, but we went with you.
Well, they were all busy.
Wow, way to make them feel fucking special.
No, it's all right.
He started
I know.
it.
I'm the emergency, emergency backup.
Well, I actually think I asked you first. Believe it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Good recovery.
there was just some availability issues with the people we wanted that weren't you. So okay, that's fine.
there we go. Truth comes out. I forgot to wear my my suit and my ball hat and my Ray-Bans today. I didn't realize we were doing a Blues Brothers bit.
No, it's okay. I don't even have any of that stuff. I mean, we could go, if you want, we could go to the ball, but that's
That'd
about
be great.
it. All right, good. Let's go then. Let's go to the ball then.
Oh God.
I mean, how did you not see that was where that was going? I want to ask you an honest question. How did you not see that the mask was where this was going? I don't want to wrap around.
I had no idea what you were talking about. Okay, all right, okay.
That's all right. That'll come up occasionally. Before we get started, though, so that way Slyh doesn't give me grief for it. We do have a new format for the show, and at the listen, Slyh, you're my backup check. You need to give me grief if I screw it up. That's the whole point. It's a good thing if you give me grief.
Even before the show, I said I believe in you.
Yeah, but if I don't do it, then that faith is shattered. I'm trying to do right by you, Slyh. It's okay.
Thank you.
So for anyone who hasn't been paying attention for the last, I think year almost at this point, SteelSeries has been sponsoring the show. They've been sponsoring my personal channel for ages, and they decided, you know what, you got a podcast. Why don't you do a giveaway every month for your podcast? I said, you know what, that would be a wonderful idea. And as such, they've been providing giveaways to State of the Realm every month. We've had winners every month. Some we've pulled on the show, some we've pulled off the show. Regardless, if you've won, you've received an email. And if not, well, go and enter the one that's in the description of this YouTube video. If you're watching on Twitch, go to last week's YouTube video. It should still be the same link. It shouldn't change for another couple of weeks. And if you're watching it over on YouTube, just scroll down and enter it there. But thank you to SteelSeries for sponsoring the show. We also have our Patreon sponsors, but we'll talk about them about halfway into the show as well. So, gentlemen, it's here.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy. This show, let's just say I think we can hold a clear head on our shoulders for this show as much as humanly possible, because I think all three of us are kind of in a little bit of a neutral standpoint in regards to the Blue Mage job, based on watching some of your streams and knowing my own thoughts personally.
In some facets, yeah.
In some facets, absolutely.
Positive, mostly positive.
Mostly positive. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was just about to get there. I was about to be like, so before we dive into the specifics, any sort of problems we have with the design, any things we haven't done yet, anything, because we do have to talk, even if we are, okay with the current implementation, I still think it's important to talk about those.
Okay.
Overall thoughts on Blue Mage as it's been added to Final Fantasy XIV? I mean, Slyh, you kind of just gave me yours, unless you want to elaborate.
I can elaborate, but Ethys, go ahead.
No, I'm like overwhelmingly positive. I think it's awesome. I think it's really, really good. I keep coming back to the thought that if it was a regular job, then I would play it up to max level and I would just forget about it and never play it again, basically. Mm-hmm. But the way that it's implemented, it's something I'm going to keep coming back to. We're going to get a lot more mileage out of it. Now, I think with the first point, it's a little bit problematic in that Stormblood introduced 2 jobs that were really kind of flashy and fun and sort of flowed really well. And it's so much about like the nature of Blue Mage and being a limited job and not having a set rotation and what it's about. But it doesn't have the same sort of like pizzazz. Like it's not as fun to play as Red Mage, sort of in its fundamentals. What is fun to play about Blue Mage is the Blue Mage content, like the stuff in the Carnival, the sort of strategizing and the stuff that you have to work out before you actually get in there.
Okay. My own thoughts is still okay with this implementation. Have a lot of flaws to point out, and I'll get to this later. I don't see why it needed to be limited after now having played it. I feel that way, and we'll go into that. Sly, I saw the look on your face. Don't worry. We'll go into that. I just want to say I've enjoyed it and I've had a lot of fun in regards to going back to old stuff. I always like when they give some sort of meaning to older content. It's a common complaint in Final Fantasy XIV that, something's around for however many months and then the next thing is the only thing anyone does. Anything that lets you revisit it, I kind of resonate towards, even things like sightseeing logs. But that doesn't mean I don't have some very clear issues with some design choices in regards to Blue Mage, whether they be oversights or just not fleshed out enough. But I think we can dive into that. So first of all, I don't know about you guys, but that hour wait after Weekly Reset came up, me and Sly, I think you were alive too. We were all like, midnight. It's going to be midnight when Blue Mage releases a Pacific. And for you, it was like 3 a.m. And then I don't know what fucking time it was in Australia. But
I was 6 p.m. I was fine.
6 p.m. And then everyone's standing there like, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where
is it?
Where is it? I'm getting flashbacks of the Rising. No. It's only going to be here for 3 hours every 3 hours.
Rather than just wait and Limsa, I'm just going to go do some mahjong. Let me know what happens, please. And that's what happened.
I went and did my 24 man and got my weekly loot. That's what I did in that hour.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
It worked out. Ultima, we're in the middle of the last phase of Ultima, and all I see in chat is, it's here!
It's up. He's up.
I'm like, good thing everything's been a one-shot pull this instance, because I don't want to wipe on Ultima now that it's available. And we kind of just dived right into it. And the leveling process was pretty much as they described, where you just go around and you kill enemies. But I guess we kind of have to start with the premise of Blue Mage coming to Eorzea in the first place. It's a good thing we have Ethys here. It's been a week, so our usual spoiler cast limit is already gone. So talking about any of the lore on Blue Mage, anything regarding the new world that's established, is very much up for grabs on this show at this. So go nuts if there's anything you want to talk about in regards to that.
I was actually really disappointed with the lore and story that we got, because we heard that it was coming from the new world, and I immediately thought, oh, awesome, we're going to get a lore dump on the new world and on stuff that's happening there. And we didn't. We got the Water Key, which is a tribe of Hyur over there that practice blue magic and practice a kind of magic which is based on observing, the beasts around them. And we decided to call it blue magic because they also really like the color blue, because they live next to a valley which has got a bunch of ceruleum in it, so it glows blue, and they like blue.
The Lapis Canyon, I believe.
Yeah, Lapis Canyon. Yeah. I thought the story so far has been
reminiscent of some of the early class quests at some points. There's not really a whole lot going on. It's just kind of establishing a route.
Yeah, I just remember that several times we had an NPC being like, oh, I need to go back over to the new world. Does anyone want to come? Warrior of Light, you want to come? I was like, yeah, let's go. I got nothing to do until March. Let's fucking do it. And then some other NPC was like, no, you got to stay here. I'm like, fuck you. Do you know who I am? Are you serious? Oh, such a tease.
Another thing that I hadn't noticed until I was watching Mary stream it is the body piece. I mean, I always knew we had a piece called the New World body, the New World robe, and it is literally the Wallachie robe.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool. I really like the way that set looks on the Wallachie. It's quite a bit different culturally than anything we really have over here, and that stands out like significantly, kind of like the Thavnarian bustiers and stuff like that.
That's true.
So I kind of brought that back to the light because I had forgotten that it was in the game.
Yeah, it seems like we're setting out the precedent that in the New World, the Hyur are quite kind of tribal and are going to be reminiscent of the Native Americans because obviously that's what they're derivative of. Yeah, and then we've got the Mamalja, which have got the more like Aztec and Mayan aesthetic. So I'm kind of expecting or anticipating, and I think it might be like a curious thread to explore, is that the relationship that we've got here between like, you know, the sort of civilized races and the beast races being split along these lines of like, you know, Hyur and Elizin, and then, you know, the beast races. It looks like that's going to be like inverted in the New World, and that in the New World, all the established cities are going to be ruled by beast tribes, and all of the more nomadic, tribal cultures are going to actually be the Hyur, which I think is going to be really cool.
Yeah, I think the only established civilization we know of over there is Mamuk, where the Mamaljas come from. I don't think we know of any other named civilization in the New World. And the Mamalja they naturally know the language of Eorzean as well. There are Mamalja here, but it seems they're capable of picking up Eorzean language.
Well, the Mamalja here explicitly all came from the New World.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They've picked up on the language. So they've shown propensity to pick up the language very quickly.
Well, the funny thing is all peoples on Hydaelyn have a propensity to pick up the different languages because they're all derivative of Alad.
Right. And then it's just a matter of exposure.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, that was interesting.
When do you think we, in terms of the New World, when do you think we kind of visit colonization? No, not visit.
I don't think we'll ever colonize it. I think they're going to stay away from that from a plot point. I think we'll go over there and we'll have to deal with companies who do want to colonize it. But I think that I don't think that like the Warrior of Light or any of our company is looking or is going to directly colonize it without butting heads in some way.
Yeah. I think that's going to happen though. I think that's going to be our like. I think when we go to the New World, the narrative is going to literally be Pocahontas. I think we're gonna go there as part of an expedition with Limilla Nelhah or whatever to establish a colony, and they're gonna end up butting heads with the locals, and we're gonna have to side with the locals. Like it's such a cliche narrative, but everything they're doing with Blue Mage at the moment is. We've got an Uldan tycoon that is going over the New World because he wants to mine it for oil. And the native's like, no, that's a sacred ground. You can't do that. And he's like, well, I'm an industrial down citizen. I'm going to, goddamn it, I'm going to do it. Like, it's so, yeah, it's, no, just me.
Okay.
It's really like on the nose at the moment. And I think that when we end up actually going there, it's going to be a similar kind of narrative, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's a plot point if they do touch it, it's on the side of we are anti-colonization regardless. I don't think any of the major nations would go to colonize. I think you'd see more people like our antagonist, I suppose, in the Blue Mage. I like Wastrak. I'd imagine people like him, businessmen.
Yeah, like the East Aldenard Trading Company, but I mean, Limilla Nelhah like that.
Lolorito.
Yeah, the Syndicate.
Lolorito would fucking colonize that shit in a heartbeat. I've no doubt.
Yeah, he'd colonize the shit out of it.
Yeah, so.
And I think the Laminsons would as well, honestly.
I mean, that's what they did already for what, where they live. That's we kind of, touched that subject in 4.5 as we did last week with the spoiler cast. Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with it, but I'm starting to get itchy fingers when it comes to thinking about going to the New World and how soon or late it would happen. And I'm starting to, I know that they've kept secret. They're like, we deliberately didn't show you where we're going, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I had someone ask me this yesterday on stream. They were like, what do you think the likelihood is of the New World being like Doma was with Stormblood's announcement, being like, surprise, we're going to the new world. And I said, well, I was expecting to go to Doma. We were talking about this, like the Far East had been so clearly on the cards for such a long time, and the new world has not been.
Thavnair has been closer to that. I don't even think Thavnair's really had that. Like, they've been present.
Yeah, not really. Like, Ilzabad, obviously.
Yeah.
We're exploring that.
The southern parts of Othard are another obvious one.
Hingashi has been hinted at more.
The eastern side of Hingashi that we haven't gotten to see.
Old Charlene and the rest of the Northern Empty has been hinted at more. Like there's so many other places that I'd be so surprised if we were just like, all right, well, forget about Thavnair, forget about Hingashi, forget about the Northern Empty, forget about Southern Orthard, forget about Ilzabad. We're going to the new world. That would be so weird.
I can see an exploration type content like Eureka. It wouldn't surprise me for that, but that's about it.
Yeah, I could see that, but I'd be kind of disappointed.
Well, not all of the new world. I mean, like, you know, like an island off of the east coast of the new world or some shit like that.
Oh, we can go to Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, that's off the west coast, so we'd have to go all the way to the other side of the new world. Which I guess technically, if we go from Doma, if we go through
Hingashi,
we go from Hingashi, we can go to Hawaii. There you go, dude. Hawaii, new Eureka confirmed. Hawaii is the new Eureka confirmed.
That would be amazing, actually. I'd be all about that.
Island to island. There you go. Ready to go. All right, so that's kind of just poking at the Blue Mage lore a little bit, since we only have so much to go about. But then we have to talk about the actual job, because that's kind of like where the majority of the salt and or defensive measures kick in when it comes to depending on who you ask. So, how did we accept the leveling process here? We knew exactly what it was going to be. It delivered exactly the way we thought it would. Was there any sort of, I guess, mixed reception at all into regards to going into the open world and just killing monsters? And we'll get into more specifics after your thoughts. Sly?
Didn't really have an issue with the way leveling was implemented. The only issue I had, and honestly, this is probably the only issue I ever have with things, is people.
You got the people debuff out in the world, Sly?
Yeah, I think everybody got the people debuff at one point in time during their leveling process. But yeah, that's pretty much the only thing. I didn't have a problem with going back and starting from 1. Again, it leveled pretty quick. You really didn't have any problems getting to 50 in like, hell, you got to it within a couple of hours. It took me a little bit longer, but not too much longer. And plus we had all this stuff. You had all these kind of bonuses and, rested EXP and, gear to kind of, help it along, like probably up to 30 and in one piece up to 50. So there was really no problem in the leveling process for me. What about you, Ethys?
I mean, by the time I got to 50, I was like, if I have to spam 1,000 needles for 5 more minutes, I'm gonna literally explode. If we get like 10,000 needles or something at level 51, I'm just gonna be like.
Doesn't the boss from Karn Hard Mode use 10,000 and 100,000 needles?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, so that's none of that. It was just about as much as I could tolerate, that 1,000 needle spam. The thing that frustrated me with leveling, and the thing that frustrates me with Blue Mage in general, is of course the people, but in a slightly different way, is that this whole idea of like getting a mate at level 70 to kill level 70 mobs for you after you tag them. So
you can't kill anything over 49. As soon as you kill something level 50, the EXP boost goes out the window.
Right. Okay. So killing things at 49. Yeah. Or similarly, the trick of switching to another
we'll talk
job.
about that. We'll talk about that.
That is infuriating. Like this is the content, This is what Blue Mage is. it's always this idea of people being like, I want to do the content, but I'm going to like skip as much of it as I possibly can. And then I'm going to go on Reddit or the forums later and I'm going to complain about how it was like dissatisfying or it wasn't enough or whatever. Like, it was so fucking easy to level up to 50 just by yourself grinding mobs. And the fact that people always insist on cheesing it. It's the same at level 50, like getting the abilities at level 50.
Oh, I've got a lot of words about
like,
that.
All just this player's attitude of finding ways to cheese it and make it as expedient as possible. It just kills the content for them personally. And I'm just like, why do people do this? It's crazy.
It's the nature.
I don't get it.
It's human nature. It's not even like gamer nature. It's human nature.
Yeah, right. People always want like a quicker way to do shit. My only issue was that, you know, me trying to do it straight up and, you know, level like, you know, the normal way. And then I get the idea that, hey, well, I just try something a little bit, you know, above my weight class and, you know, try to get a little bit more XP. And then I go to the Northern Fan Book Club and then mom just sitting there, you know, minding my business, doing it normal. And everybody just comes by and just one shot everything that I hit. I see what you're saying. It takes the winds out of your sails. And at that point, I got frustrated to the point where I just started doing it to other people that did it to me. I'm like, you know, I can do this too, right? Like same thing with the sticky tongue kind of thing, like where you're hitting a mob and then they sticky it to them, like they sticky tongue it to them. I'm like, I can do this shit too. Like, what is your problem? Let me live my life.
I think that's an NA thing though, because again, on Elemental, it's like if people saw that you were farming in a particular spot, farming particular mobs, they're like, all right, those are yours. Like, oh, there's plenty of other mobs in the zone. I'll just go somewhere else and find some other ones. Like, there was very, very little of that in my experience, so I didn't have to deal with that so much. But
you know what's funny about that?
I kept having people coming into stream and telling me like, oh, you know, you can just do it this way. I'm like, I want to fucking do it that way. And people are like, well, you're an idiot. Like, that's way faster. I'm like, no. I wanted this content. Like, I want to do the content. I'm not begging for content and then like trying to do as little of the content as I can, you know?
Or rush it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so it's funny you mentioned that because we're gonna get into the spell learning process a little bit later. But on JP servers, I saw people were very much clear on how to learn self-destruct in Final State.
Yes.
In regards
if you
to
the bomb, people would just let you have it. They'd be like, all right, that's your one.
In NA, it's like, oh shit, I gotta kill the fucking thing. Let's go.
Bring it over here. Bring it up.
And I was just like, well, I know something I'm getting from dungeons. Fuck that. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys had it easy. I mean, you guys there's just more respect. I mean, did I say the strong arming story from Eureka? Was that last week? Did I mention that?
Yeah, you told us. Yeah, like asserting dominance.
Yeah, I was asserting dominance because I was killing mobs in a spot and another guy started killing them. I was like, fine, I'll just fucking kill them 2-3 at a time. I don't give a fuck. And then I died once, and then I went back and did it again, but then he left after saying something about me dying once, and I was like, I was here first? I just said I was here first, tongue face. That was it.
In regard to the glide bomb, I eventually had to type this. I'm just trying to kill this once and get the spell. The sooner you let me get the spell, the sooner I will be one less person you have to fucking worry about. They eventually stopped.
See, what I did whenever I went into an area where people were trying to like learn a spell from a mob, I just invite them to the party.
Yeah, that's what I did. I would always just like LF, like looking for like trying to learn spell LFG.
Yeah,
it was pretty simple. I did that most times.
No, fuck people.
But then you all get it. You all get it. You don't have to compete. You don't have to fight. You all get it.
No. Yeah, but people don't know. Listen, we'll get into the misinformation of learning skills in a little bit because there's a lot of it, despite the quest itself telling you. Yes,
it was so clear.
It was very clear. For me, I think Thousand Needles was the biggest. Here's the thing: I don't want to ever spam it the exact same thing for 6 hours straight, no matter what it is. Palace of the Dead, Heaven on High, the highest level dungeon I could possibly do. 1,000 Needles. But at least the leveling process went at such a pace that, like, after I was like, well, if it takes me 1,000 needles to kill a mob, and it takes me 6 mobs to get, then every 6 1,000 needles, I fucking gain a level, you know? Like, I like to break it down on a mathematical standpoint, and then I'm like, okay, that's a level, that's a level, that's a level, got a level, 10 minutes for a level, 12 minutes for a level, 14 minutes for a level. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, easy. And I'm done, and that's it. And then I like to push myself to see how fast I can, you know, get the process going. Like, once, like, do I know the respawns on the monsters? You know, what... how many times will I miss? And what are the chances I'm missing? You know, I just like to try and get that rhythm down packed, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. But by God, I kind of wish Thousand Needles didn't work that well. I really wish it didn't, because
they just had a really high miss rate or something.
Oh, and I was like, man, I've never wanted. You know, True North just got nerfed to 90 seconds. Can I get 5 seconds on Swiftcast, please, just for Blue Mage? Because it's just that cast time, man. Fucking cast.
Oh, it's so tedious.
Oh my God. And then I went into dungeons pre-50, and I was like, when they said overworld mob EXP was higher. Oh yeah,
dungeons are garbage.
And fates. I killed the fate boss with, I don't know. It took me maybe like a minute, and it gives worth like 800 more EXP for the whole fate.
Yeah.
And I was like,
okay.
That was it. So yeah, leveling process was, I'd say, par for the course, generally. I would say one thing I appreciated that I didn't realize until I was, I think, 47. When you learn a spell, you get EXP.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I was learning them, but I just wasn't looking at my like EXP bar, or I never leveled off of that. So
you get a lot.
When I was doing unsynced runs and like just had somebody just carrying us through the fucking dungeon, that's how I knew we were.
You're doing unsynced runs, getting people to catch. This is what I'm talking about. You're so fucking lazy. Like, this is Blue Mage. This is the content. Just do it with your Blue Mage and your Blue Mage friends.
You even got EXP for the totem spells.
I can get carried and cheese it.
Okay, so you really But this was before I knew that I could get it from another. Like, this is before I even thought of getting it from like the Relic Chimera. You seriously want to do a full run of fucking Cutter's Cry just to get voices, or voices? You're down. You're about.
Or you could just wait for the carnival and do it there. The carnival's 2 different places to learn the voice.
I mean, I
didn't know that either.
I did Cutter's Cry a couple of times, and I was like, all right, this is a bit much. I'm just gonna wait till 50. And then I did it with 4 Blue Mage parties.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one. Yeah, that was the one instance where you had an option of where you wanted to get it. I was like, well, fuck it, I'll just get it from Relic. But there are others that you actually have to go through the entire fucking dungeon just to get to the final boss to get it. Otherwise, you can just leave the fucking dungeon at, like, for example, Aurum Vale, coin counter. You don't get it, just fucking leave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just 2-manning Aurum Vale because you can doom the first boss, you can doom coin counter, and you can just sleep most of the mobs in between the two
and lock them out.
Right.
Yeah. There was really interesting ways, or we're going to get into that too eventually, interesting ways, because I've gone and like experimented with doing stuff unconventionally as Blue Mage, since kind of doing it both conventionally and unconventionally with, you know, level 70s and stuff throughout the process. We'll definitely get into that because that's an interesting point. But Ethys, you're talking about doing content with 4 Blue Mages, right?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I show a clip of one of my experiences with a full party of Blue Mages?
Oh, please. It's hilarious.
So I had an instance where it was a few level 17s, level 16. We went into Tamtara, and none of us had Mighty Guard, White Wind, and I didn't even have Off Guard at this point, I think. I think I had like 4 spells and I hadn't visited the guy. So I had Sticky Tongue, and we didn't have a way of tanking the bosses. So I kind of came up with my own way of tanking the bosses. In which, let's see, I'll skip ahead to right about here. Yeah, so this was my experience with tanking on Blue Mage without Mighty Guard. And it was 3 a.m, so I wheezed like someone who didn't have lungs. And if you're watching, I found this I found this mildly entertaining as a method to tank a low level boss, because I don't think he much appreciated it, but doing shit like this made me have a lot more fun day one than I maybe would have anticipated. Because it was incredibly... Dude, if you did this in a normal dungeon, they would fucking boot your ass on the next fucking pull. That's...
Oh, it's so good though.
It was a lot. I was just like cackling, like... And there's been a lot of fun situations like that with doing full Blue Mage parties for stuff, because it's not in any way better than doing it with normal people, like normal compositions, but it's fucking hilarious.
I've been determined to do all the level 50 skills for the primals with Blue Mage only parties. And we're getting through it, but like you get 1 or 2 clears, and then half the party are like, "Oh, why don't we just switch to level 70?" Or like, "Why don't we just go like 4-4?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, get out! You kidding me? It's all about that."
Oh yeah, I'll have words about that. Don't worry.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get to that later then.
Yeah, but I mean, we're kind of already on the topic. So about learning spells on Blue Mage, I was shocked this. I'm not including the primal skills, which are a whole nother topic. I was surprised the majority of the skills were as quick to pick up as they were. I fully anticipated, like, by level, like, 6, you'd want to stop and grind out a spell, and it might take you 10, 15, 20. Like, I fully expected it to be like that. Like, when you go out of your way to get a spell, like, you're hard committing to, like, sitting there until you learn it. And you are, but it was surprisingly quick. I don't know if you guys were as surprised at how quickly you were learning at least the overworld and maybe some of the dungeon abilities.
Not exactly. I mean, when we saw the live letter, he even said when he was getting the spells, "I'm not in God mode. This is how you're going to get a spell." So I had the expectation that it wouldn't take too long for, lower level spells, primals and everything beyond 50. I understand. Yeah, and we're kind of seeing that now and feeling that. But the overworld spells, nah, I wasn't surprised.
What about you, Ethys?
Yeah, at low level, I was expecting to get them like pretty quickly within sort of 3 or 4 tries. But the drop off is like really, really steep between like the 3-star and the 4-star in particular. And I was a little bit surprised by that. It was like, when I got up to voice, and I was like, it'll take like a couple of runs, and in a couple of runs, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is the point where they start to get a little bit more hectic. And with the primals, again, it's like, okay, this is more what I was expecting,
I don't wish that the overworld spells were harder to get per se, but I don't know. I just expected them to stretch it out. I expected them to want you to have to go way out of it. I guess I think all the way back to the days of the sightseeing logs when they first came out. Because to me, Blue Mage is a sightseeing log you fight with. Like it's kind of how I relate the content as a collectible in a sense.
Yeah.
And I just remember the absolute fuckery that was sightseeing logs, a Realm Reborn original sightseeing logs, waiting for it to rain in Camp Drybone, and it rained like once every 4 fucking real life days. And I totally expected Blue Mage to be that kind of time killer. I was pleasantly surprised it wasn't, but I think it did shorten the life of the job for anyone who's just looking to complete everything 1-to-1 and then be done.
Well, I think that we'll find that when we're getting spells above level 50, they're gonna be more like that. I'm kind of expecting like open world spells in the Heavens Ward zones are gonna be more like the 4-star, 5-star kind of proc rate. I think it was important to have them really, really easy at the lower levels so that you could kind of like spread out the pack a little bit more, because we had like 1 million people trying to get these same spells at the same time on week 1. I don't think it'll necessarily be quite the same whenever the next update is.
What about you, Slyh? How do you feel like they'll treat overworld spells? Do you think they'll make them rare? Or do you think that this kind of par for the course for all overworld spells?
I think once we get to the 60 spells, it'll pretty much be the same.
Well, what about the spells from 50 to 60? Like any overworld spells you might be able to pick up from like 51, 52, etc.
Probably the same. They want you to. I kind of felt like they wanted to give you a positive outlook before you have to go to Atma kind of levels of hate.
They lied to you. They wanted to lie to you. Give you hope.
We start getting all these myths about how we get fucking primal spells and everything. So yeah, I thought like just making overworld spells a lot easier to get than primal and beyond. It's just keep it this way, please.
That's a good point. Like grinding an open world spell for 2 hours, that's not fun.
No, grinding anything for 2 hours starts to wear on your conscience.
Well, I think when you're doing it with Blue Mage only parties, it's a lot of fun. I think it's really, really cool. Like particularly, so I've been trying to get together a party for Titan Extreme Blue Mage only. And man, the tank swaps for that are hilarious.
Well, it's literally the guy who needs to take aggro goes Mighty Guard and does 1 White Wind, and the other guy uses Lucid.
Yeah, but damage is going out and other people are using White Wind and stuff, and it's like a little bit of a mess. You can just barely take 2 stacks with full vid accessories, we worked out, and that's pretty cool. You can deep freeze the bombs in Titan, and they won't explode. Pick a spot, deep freeze a bomb, and that's a safe zone. Like, there's so much fun stuff that you can do with a Blue Mage only party. But it's difficult, and I was trying to get parties to do it that, like, I don't know what the attitude is, but people are dying to landslides and Way to the Land, and I'm like, you guys know that this is like a challenge mode thing, right?
Like,
maybe
I gotta move.
Yeah, like maybe work out how to do the fight before we try and do it, this way. But no, I really like that. So doing it like that, farming it for hours is a lot of fun. Doing it with, 1 level 70, like carrying you, while you just kind of sit there and fiddle with your butthole for hours, that's not fun. That's not fun. And again, like this is like the end game Blue Mage content that we're talking about here. And if people are bored with Blue Mage or finding it like unsatisfying and stuff, it's probably because they're doing it like that. I can't help but feel,
To some degree. I get what you're saying. But man, if I did 101 Shivas again, and those were all 8 blue parties, I might not agree with you entirely.
I give it about 10, 20 runs. After that, I'm like, okay, really, fuck this shit. Like,
all right, okay, fair enough.
But I will say that I think dungeons, full dungeon Blue Mages, full Blue Mage dungeons, that no matter what was never frustrating to me. Like if we didn't learn something in one run on a dungeon run with full Blue Mage, that never once frustrated me, because you fucking destroy everything in the dungeons as a Blue Mage, even at level, because it's one of the few places where everything is susceptible to all the bullshit you can do. So you got one guy doing level 5 petrify and drills, you got another guy deep freezing and doing deep freezing and doing Ram's voice. You got another guy doing aqua breath and doing and then all of a sudden everything's fucking dead. And it didn't hit anybody. Like it couldn't even hurt the person because it had 6 different forms of CC on it. There is the downside that Blue Mages don't have a traditional res at all. That's kind of one of the major drawbacks to doing full Blue Mage stuff. They have transfusion, but I don't think the Blue Mage is like, you know what? You learn it in case we kill it. I don't want to.
I think it's the one thing that makes like full Blue Mage stuff really kind of challenging and compelling.
Because it's one life. It's one life and you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't go in there and just spam like, final sting and self-destruct to get someone to res you. Like you actually have to,
except on the trash. On the trash, if you don't mind running back, you can do it as much as you want.
Yeah. No, I mean more with like the primals and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you have to play smart, and it's like it's kind of reminiscent of doing them in ARR again. It's kind of like you're learning them again in a way. It's a lot of fun.
I definitely thought so. Like that Tamtara is not the only run that went like that. Wanderer's Palace with the Tonberry King was an interesting one because he's fucking lethal if you do him normally. So we ended up having to Acorn Bomb the mini Tonberries and kill the boss before the big Tonberries got to us. And that was shit I would have never considered doing that dungeon that way ever, if not for the threat of dying on the final boss there. And that different outlook is what I have enjoyed about Blue. I'm not looking at things like I've looked at them for the past 5 years.
Right.
I do feel there's a good bit of fun, but at this, when you've done over 100 Shivas, if you've done them on 8 Blue Mage parties, then I want you to come to me and tell me that.
I want to rip my dick off and throw it out a window by the time I get to that point. I have no doubt, but I won't regret it. I'll be like, yeah. This is what I wanted. I wanted it to be frustrating, you know? I want Blue Mage to be frustrating. That's the kind of content that I want.
I mean, I like being frustrated at raids, but I don't know that I want to be frustrated for that long. I don't mind, like, here's the thing, on a first clear, I don't mind being frustrated. I would love to beat everything with 8 Blue Mages. I don't want to do that 100 times. Or up to, or more than 100 times. I sometimes didn't even want to do the fucking 09 Savage the fucking following week. Because I'm like, all right, just whatever, don't give a fuck.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's once a week. We're talking about like 100+ times to learn one. Okay, I guess I should ask both of you. You guys already know where I stand on Blue Mage in terms of spells learned. Sly, how's your primal progress been? For our audio listeners, no, his microphone is not broken. He's just staring at me.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
That's
it.
So 0.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Hey, I did get missile. Yay. But that's not really a primal, so.
Congratulations.
Woo.
Well done.
And Ethys, I think you said 2?
No, I don't have any primal abilities yet. No. And I'm okay with that. Because like they're a reward, you know.
The other half of the party got Garuda.
Oh no.
They dipped and
that's really shitty. Oh no.
I'm going to give you the order in which I got them.
Okay.
4 Garudas.
Okay.
1 Titan.
What?
Fuck you. Eat a dick.
Then I had to stay around for another hour and a half to not get the other half of the party.
Right.
Buster. So.
Good on you. Good on you, though. You're the real MVP.
Oh, you haven't heard anything yet.
Okay.
Oh, you. Then next on the list is Ramu, which I think the first party got in about 45 minutes, and then it took 4 hours for me to get mine.
Oh.
And we did extreme, not hard mode. So then Leviathan took 3 tries for me to get, and then it took us another 30-something tries to get it for the other half. Then Shiva took me on one day. I think I did it 18 times, and another day I did it 89 times. So on the 107th, approximately, because I don't know exactly how many times I did it on Tuesday, that's when I got Glass Dance, and then it took 12 more to get the other half. So 101 Shivas that day.
Oh my god.
Now that's 2.5 minute Shiva runs at this. Not these 6-7 minute full Blue Mage runs. I would like to point out to you right now.
That's really shit RNG though.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I needed that reassurance.
The other ones, though, like getting them in like 1 or 2 tries is ridiculous.
And then Ifrit we did in an 8 Blue Mage party for the most part, and that we learned. I mean, I had gone on and off because we didn't know normal mode was bugged, and there were some people claiming they got it from normal mode anyway. And on hard mode, I think that took like 30 or 40. But like that day alone, it was maybe like 8. The day I actually got it. So that's what I'm looking at. But that's also after throwing away 9 hours of normal mode runs because I didn't know it was bugged.
Oh dear.
Like, you can still get it from normal Ifrit. I don't doubt that. Bugs aren't all inclusive, but it definitely fucked the vast majority of us. I'm just saying. Because I can solo him in 24 seconds and get it, and, and see Eruption once. But, man. The fact that neither of you have any, I don't know if we could talk about this.
I mean, we've been trying.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of the point.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends on how you look at them. Do you look at because the primal spells, by the way, are totally not mandatory for carnival stuff.
Oh, of course. I've done all the carnival stuff.
Yeah. Have you done the achievements?
No.
You should. You should. We're gonna talk about them without spoiling what they are, because I didn't let my chat spoil me on how to do them. I figured them out from scratch, and it was a lot of fun. They aren't mandatory for that at all. You can get all the achievements without them. Do you think that excuses the low drop rate, or do you? Because it depends on if you're looking at them. The fact that you don't need them. Do you think that excuses in any way?
Yeah.
The drop rate?
Absolutely. Look, the way I see it is that once I've got 49 spells, I'm done. That's it. I might play Blue Mage for the weekly carnival stuff. I want to do all the extreme modes at least once. I want to do all of Coil at least once with an A Blue Mage party. But getting the spells is the content, and once you've got them, you're done. That's it. That's Blue Mage. See you next Blue Mage update, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was going to say. Do you view them as the equivalent of a primal mount, in a sense?
Yeah.
In terms of a goal?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Would you accept getting a totem and then eventually being able to learn it? I guess the thing is, I want to gauge if you would be okay with an alternative to these drop rates, because I think that these drop rates have dissuaded people because there's no guaranteed progress, and that's been a constant kind of thorn.
What I really, really want is if you go in with a Blue Mage only party, then the boss will drop an extra coffer, and that coffer will have some Blue Mage exclusive shit. Yeah,
like a totem for the skill or something.
Yeah, either a totem or a totem and a chance of a weapon or some other glamour or whatever. But yeah, I want there to be rewards for doing it the Blue Mage way, basically, and not cheesing it and not getting carried and just doing it with a full group of Blue Mages. I want that to be better incentivized because it's fun, and I've been filling up parties doing it, but I feel like it could be, like I say, better incentivized, and it'd get more longevity out of the job, and it would also make it slightly less frustrating to be running these primals over and over and over and over and over.
Okay, then. So how long do you think Blue Mage will stay relevant?
How long do I think Blue Mage will stay relevant? I don't.
At least until the next Blue Mage patch. How long do you think it's going to stay?
I don't know if it's relevant now. I don't think being relevant is really the point of Blue Mage, is it?
I'll agree with you
it's side
there.
content. It's side content. It's fun, compelling side content, but it's side content.
It's side content, yes, but it's in the same breath as new primals. You do them, and once you do them, you get everything you can out of it: weapon, doggo, mount, whatever, what have you, and move on. But it's in the same breath as a primal. You get all the skills, get all the achievements, you move on. So people who are having the Atmos experience and not getting anything out of it right now because of really bad RNG, they're gonna want something like a totem to kind of speed it up and help me or help them get through it to the point where I can kind of move on to other stuff, what have you.
I'm in the same boat as Ethys here. I want something to incentivize full Blue Mage parties, because I do think that's the best way to enjoy it. Whether that be a minor Wallachie totem for everyone that's on Blue Mage to pick up a spell if they don't learn it in 20, 30, 40, whatever, a decent number of tries. Or
they can stick with the 99. That's fine.
Yeah, but that's still. I mean, I going back to 108 Shivas. You know, I'm still, and by then,
slightly less.
Yeah, it's slightly less. You know, I would have saved some time on all of them except one. I think all Blue Mage parties should realistically just have a way higher chance of getting the skill, like outright. Just like a lot of people thought initially that because of the statement he made, where it was, I swapped scenes back to the other thing, and it's just a Twitch chat on the screen because I went like this and hit spacebar, and it swapped to the media scene again. People thought that because of the way it was worded, like, well, if one Blue Mage learns it, everyone learns it. We all kind of took that as if you have more than one Blue Mage, you have higher odds. You don't.
No, Yoshida like clarified on that point during the live letter. He said, if it's not, I think the way he worded it is that if you're in a party, it's a party roll. Like, yeah, it's still
everyone will learn it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you roll and then you roll and then you roll, and if one gets it, they all get it. It's like, it's literally the same roll. It's just that rather than the roll being for the individual, it's for the party when it dies.
Right. And I think that's not, I don't think that's necessarily a mistake, but I do think that increasing the drop rate for a full Blue Mage party would be a good idea going forward, I feel. Because that gets people to try it that way. No one wants to try it that way if they know a level 70 can just burn through it for them.
But no one. Like I say, I've been filling up these parties, and people tend to get frustrated after about an hour and like want to, duck out or cheese it or whatever. But like people are willing to give it a go. So I don't think it needs a higher rate. I just think that the totems would be a good idea. But what I would really like is some primal weapons, just like purely glamour primal weapons that can only drop if you're a Blue Mage only party,
Anything.
Yeah, just anything like that.
Yeah. What have you done with 8 blues so far?
What have I done with 8 blues?
Successfully.
The hard modes.
Okay.
I have worked out how to do most of the extreme modes, and it's just about getting a competent party together that's not just like randos out of PF. But yeah, I intend to do all the extremes. I intend to do all of Coil, and I think it's perfectly doable.
It is. I know 1 through 5 is doable at the very least, and Diamondback works on Terra Flare instead of the tank LB3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I think it's doable too. I think it's gonna be rough. I know I've been attempting to solo shit. I worked out that I could solo it for hard mode.
Yeah.
It takes about 45 minutes, but I can do it because he doesn't have a hardened rage. So,
oh jeez.
Yeah, and I soloed turn 2, and I don't think I could solo turn 5. I think I could solo turn 4.
I came to the realization that you can solo turn 2. You just have to have the proper skills. I didn't even have like half the proper skills, like post 50 proper skills. And I got through the navigation. What is it? The first node. A little bit of spam, but yeah, it works out.
Well, Doom works on all of those nodes. So if you what you can do is you can sit right outside the node's arena, and you just spam Doom. If you get it, walk into the arena. If you don't, let it reset until you actually land Doom. It's pretty fucking hilarious to do that. You can do that for farming skills too. You can do that with the first boss of Keeper of the Lake to learn Flamethrower. You can do that with the first boss of Wanderer's Palace hard mode to learn Fire Angon. You can do it in quite a few places actually. But I'm curious to see, because a lot of, I feel like the soloing for like turn 4 and shit's gonna do, because you can Doom everything in turn 4. And you can tail screw everything in turn 4. So it's a matter of how many I can land or how much I need it. Yeah, it's a matter of how much I can actually land Doom. And how frequently, how much I can stay alive too. Because you're not that tanky even with Mighty Guard.
Well, you could just you could probably do it with 4 Blue Mages and just have,
you do it too. I have no doubt you could do it with 2.
I just have one designated Doomer and one designated healer.
One designated Mighty Guard White Wind spammer, one designated Doomer. Yeah. And I think if you do it fast enough, I think you could do it. And in some cases you could both Doom. But anything that is, I think you could do turn 5 with 2 Blue Mages. I think it'd be tough, but I think you could do it. Because I think you can doom the ads, and the problem is staying alive against the dragons long enough to kill them. You can survive Twintanya really easily. She's actually really easy in the early phase. But
Okay.
And by the way, you have to wait until I'm talking about enrage strat. You have to literally hold Twintanya until enrage and then kill her there.
Yeah.
I think you could do that. Maybe.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that's the fascinating part for me with Blue Mage is doing these unconventional things. Because I you know what? I think back to Xeno soloing Titan Extreme. Like that was the first time I think someone looked at content and said, wow, soloing old shit can be like insanely like tight and like awesome to watch. And Blue Mage is not as insanely tight as that. It's a much more drawn out process, but that kind of ever since that video and that happening, I feel like stuff like soloing Palace, Heaven on High, soloing old primals, like it has its own kind of I guess content around it that's like kind of less conventional. And when people find ways around that kind of stuff, it's intriguing to me.
Well, the Mask Carnival felt like that as well. Like it was kind of designed around that idea. It's like it's more about thinking about how to approach the encounter in a way that would sort of, expedite it and kind of use a toolkit that you have. I mean, we know that the Mask Carnival was designed by Mr. Ozma, and like it really shows. And you can really feel his like fingerprints all over Blue Mage when you go and try and work out these strategies with ARR content with it. And I love that. I think that's so much fun, honestly. I think it's really, really fun and really compelling. And the longevity for that is, again, it's just a case of if Blue Mage wasn't like this, then I would get it to level 70 and I'd probably never touch it again. But I'm going to keep coming back to it now because of the way they've designed it as a limited job. It doesn't. I don't think it has to be a limited job, but I'm glad that it is.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna touch on that point a little bit later. Before we do that, we're at about the halfway point of the show. After that, we are going to talk a little bit about limited job. We are going to talk about the carnival. I think there's actually some things I really want to talk about regarding the carnival. But first, we have to thank our Patreon sponsors. As stated, I'll probably stop saying it after this week's show, even though we have a break. There's no show next week because Kingdom Hearts 3. We do have a new thing where we're trying to spread out the stuff we always used to stack at the end. And that way, we get to shout people out in the beginning of the show, middle of the show, in case people don't make it all the way to the end and don't get to hear our sponsor shout outs and stuff. So for our midway show, we want to thank our Patreon sponsors who have been supporting the show through hashtag demonetized. It's probably about last January. I think it was about, beginning of New Year last year when that kind of really took over and was affecting a lot of channels in particular. We have a multitude of them. We, of course, first have our Patrons of Light, who I do not want to be held up by that, who, a Blue Mage picture for a Blue Mage show, Khuja Cross from Jenova. I'm not too surprised. And it's Ethys' favorite kind of picture.
Flying chub. That's amazing.
He loves the flying chubs. I don't think anybody would ever deny that from Ethys. So thank you, Khuja Cross from Jenova. And we also have Kurenai Oni as well. I have to do a quick swap of the images unless I want to make a whole other scene. Who's still swimming over at Byakko. There's some other images he sent me, but a lot of them are of different angles of him swimming at Byakko. And I like this one. Because this one really is the I don't give a fuck. This water is nice angle was what's going on over there. So I don't know why I said Byakko. I said Serrha, and neither of you caught it. So that's snack. Listen, they're fucking easy. That's all they share that. All right. Regardless. Anyway, thank you for our Patrons of Light for sponsoring the show. We of course have all of our other sponsors as well. Sly, I couldn't even see the look on your face. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I haven't done it in the past few weeks, so.
But the look on your face tells me how you feel about it, though. That's the problem.
Go ahead, Haps.
We have our standard State of the Realm Patreon sponsors. Nyrek Vizsla, the Fist of Vrolgar, Krista Uzuki, Trace Demeter from Midgard, Raijin Ventinus from Cactar, Carol, Ray, Senchi, Shadowlink on the Tomberry server, Dom, Sukawake from Jenova, Limilla Nelhah of Midgard Armor, Serren the Fennel family, Janhyua Yotsuyu, Kifca the Great Eagles on Exodus, Aoshi from Kujata, Skia Symphonia from Ragnarok, Rylanator Westaus The Purple Warrior, Eadric Redsteele on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus FC. Just because you're not typing PogChamp doesn't mean you get to tell them to do it. Mantaru the Rivivus FC from Zodiark, Sour Cream and Chives from Jenova, Rynoet Chikara, Goetia, Valefar of Siren, Phoenix Down FC on Goblin. I heard that. Serren from Zodiark, and those are the standard sponsors. And I know it's Ethys because I can recognize his fucking keyboard sound. Then we have our elite sponsors. We have Vapa Tiama from Diablos. We have I meant to change Morgan's because he actually gave me a different display name. So actually I can grab that in about 2 seconds. That way I can give him the right thing. That would be Shadow Ari of Brynhildr. So actually let me take a bit of a hashtag professionalism moment and adjust that right now so it doesn't happen in the future. Good thing I remembered that. And I can see the chat. I have eyes, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not bad at that. We have Zaravire of Coworl, Alchemy, Shinka, Casual Heroes FC on Maker, Summon, Touchstock on Hyperion, Kanazuki from Jenova, Starla on Coworl, Sathal, Sarah Frost from Behemoth, Holy Tabasco, Crass 015, Serenity FC on Ultros, Kat Kazuma, Ignis Fairground from Excalibur, Blester Fanfret, Knock Cords from Excalibur, Crovus Moonscar, Private Mikey, Notting Kirsami, Rudy Rudiger, Kill Ackman, Roll Jr., and Kiltastic Jones. So thank you.
Wow.
Thank you to everyone so much for combating hashtag demonetized.
Nice PogChamps.
Thank you for taking up the mantle of PogChamp.
That's in Pharos' name. Don't forget. Yeah. I'm amazed there weren't more Pharos Pogs in there. Yeah, at least it wasn't Kappas. That's a good point. That's a real good point coming out of our chat. All right, so getting back onto our Blue Mage topic. The next topic is indeed the one thing that was designed for Blue Mage here, the Masked Carnival. Mm-hmm. Now, as a reminder, I think there's been slight mention of it already, but Slyh, how many have you done? I know it's not all of it.
Not all, like maybe 4 or 5.
4 or 5? Yeah. Okay. Ethys, you said you did all of them. That is correct.
Yes, that's correct.
I have done all of them and the achievements and the weekly challenges for both last week and this week. Which, if you haven't done the one for this week's not too bad. The Masked Carnival for me is the center of potential that isn't all there. Which is something I often use to describe stuff like Eureka and other content when it first enters the game in Final Fantasy XIV. If that is deemed fair. So, Slyh, since you don't have much experience with it, what is your current thoughts? Why have you only done 4 or 5? Like, why are you still out learning spells before you focus on finishing the carnival or anything like that? What is its appeal to you? Lack of appeal? Any of that?
There's no lack of appeal. I mean, I eventually want to do everything. It's just preparation. I'd rather have, some of the better spells. I mean, yes, there is a challenge in attempting to do it with the current spells you have at 50. Rather than, waiting until you get primal spells and whatnot. And I don't mind, doing it without those spells. Again, like that's solo stupid shit is what I call it. And like I've always been akin to solo stupid shit, like doing shit unsynced with my Dragoon, seeing how much I can do.
For once, it wasn't me.
Nice.
For once, it wasn't me.
Is the garbage man. I'm sorry.
But why are you still here?
Again, I don't. God damn it.
Got him. It was too easy.
I'm fine. I'm good.
I know you are. Sorry, you know I didn't mean it. Mostly.
I'm sorry. I don't.
Oh, you're. But yeah, I don't mind it. I'll probably eventually try the rest of them. With the current skill set I have, and see how far I can get. Yeah, it's not a bad deal. I like it.
I think you should. What I really enjoyed going through them was that I look at like the preview, we see all the resistances and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I don't have the kit to do this properly. How the fuck am I going to do this? And trying to kind of work out a kind of tier 2 strat for it. And then getting it done and thinking, wow, that was tough. this is going to be so cool when I can come back when I've got this skill and this skill, and I can just absolutely like mow over it in like 20 seconds. That's going to be so much fun. So I think doing it with an incomplete kit is really cool.
It's rewarding. It's challenging. It's more along the lines of like, you know, don't threaten me with a good time. I want to see like, you can't do that, Sly. You don't have the skills. Don't threaten me with a good time, boy.
Right.
Yeah, I like chat brought up what I was about to say. You mentioned a tier 2 shred. What he means by that is Moonflute, Off Guard, Peculiar Light, Boost, boom. Or Sting. Or Sting.
Yeah.
And that was kind of I was kind of upset that worked on so many so well. I was a little like, well, it's because I did all of them without that first. I had all 49 spells before I even touched the Carnival. And I was just like, I had 47 and then I learned the last 2 from the Carnival. But I still didn't boom my way through the Carnival. Like, I wanted to see all the gimmicks they kind of intended for you to do, whether or not you had to do them. But then I was like, well, I think I'm just going to boom the rest of it. I think at this point I might as well just boom it all. And Toad Oil, can't forget Toad Oil. And it was kind of... It was reminiscent of Thousand Needles while leveling for me. In that, kind of wish this wasn't as effective as it was. Or I wish... So there's a hidden feat in there that's not an achievement called Smarter, Not Harder. And you get it's minus 30,000 points if you only use one skill to beat the whole stage.
Oh, I love that. That's so good.
I kind of wish there was one for Self-Destruct and Final Sting that kind of operated on a similar note. Minus points I don't give a shit about, but something that it's like you can't kill yourself with Self-Destruct or Final Sting to get success. And also it doesn't damage you. So if you're going for something that doesn't requires you taking no damage, Self-Destruct and Final Sting don't hurt you. They just put you in the KO state. So they're eligible. So I kind of I wasn't a super big fan of that particular aspect of the Carnival. I don't know if you have any issues with boom.
No, I just like that you can do it however you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I like that it's up to you whether you want to do it the hard way or whether you just want to face roll it. Because doing it both ways is fun. But yeah, I kind of wish that for doing it the hard way, there were some kind of like special achievements or special conditions or whatever. That would be cool. Like if you could get some kind of like special title, special glamour for going all the way through the Carnival without
dying.
Without getting KO'd once. Yeah, that would be sweet. That would be really cool. But the score as well. The chat makes a good point that it's kind of it's arbitrary. Like there's no leaderboards. You're just like, oh, that's a number. Cool. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Somebody outside my apartment listening to loud, somebody's listening to very sensual music out of their car right now. It sounds like, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I think stuff like that's possible because I think for me, the Masked Carnival kind of represents a whole lot of potential the game hasn't realized in ways of these score screens at the end.
Okay.
I've always said that a compromise I'd love to not having DPS meters is to have a result screen at the end of a dungeon that kind of gauges your performance so that if a player's doing a subpar amount of DPS, it says, well, you got a C in damage.
Like Dauntless.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
That would be cool.
And then like how a number of AoEs you got hit by and things. I just wanted to kind of parse your actions, action by action, and kind of determine performance or any sort of special things that you accomplished. I've mentioned dungeon achievements for ages. Or raid achievements for doing things in an unconventional manner. It finally got put in the game in the Masked Carnival.
Yep.
There's 3 special achievements for doing fights in a very particular way.
Okay.
Since it sounds like neither of you have done them, and I assume you may want to figure them out for yourself because they don't tell you how to do it. There's no There's not a single place in the game that tells you. You literally have to read the name of the achievement and kind of just go, oh, well, it's probably that.
Okay.
The names are, well, the achievement name for the first one, probably the easiest one in my opinion, is Octopath Traveler, which is to acquire the Trouble with Tentacles bonus detail, which is a hidden one. It doesn't tell you how to obtain it. Then there's Giant Slayer, which I think is a hidden feat of the same name in a different one. And then there's Perfect Blue, which is another hidden feat. And it doesn't tell you how to obtain any of them. You just kind of have to piece them together based on the name of the achievement. And you have to perform a very specific task within the encounter itself in order to obtain these. So it is basically parsing you action by action to make sure you're doing it correctly. And so they have the technology. They have it. They've always said the main reason why doing dungeon achievements and shit was tough because they didn't have the technology to parse you action by action.
Just bullshit. Yeah.
Which they do because the duty recorder does the same fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It just only does it for the instances it qualifies for.
Mm-hmm.
I want this. I want it so bad in the rest of the game.
I've been wanting this for years.
Like, look at old WoW achievements. Look at, like, Halo 3 achievements. Look at fucking Ultimate Weapons and Dynasty Warriors. That shit was hella cool. And I want it in this game. And this is the first time we've seen it in the goddamn carnival. And it makes me anxious. It makes me wish there were more of them for this version of the carnival, too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wait for more of these. But if you aren't doing anything on your Blue Mages tonight, try to figure out what they are and try to achieve them. Because it is fun. That was the most fun I had with the Mass Carnival itself.
Do you think we might see an update of the carnival before we get a level cap increase?
Not a chance.
That's a shame. Because I think that would be really cool if they added just like 5 or 10 encounters each patch for the Mass Carnival. That would be really
I'm not saying they won't. I'm saying I don't think they will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. I agree with that. But it would be cool.
Yeah, which was another kind of point that the carnival, there's not enough carnival for me there.
Mm-hmm.
That's bottom line.
Okay.
There's not enough carnival for me there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I hear that as well. I would have liked a little bit more. Maybe 50, maybe 100 levels of it. Be good.
Yeah. And another thing with the carnival is weekly challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mentioned those bonus details before, but every week there's a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced weekly challenge, which is for Guild, Allied Seals, and Tomestones of Poetics. Which, by the way, just fucking make it cap Tomestones at this point. I don't give a shit if it's level 50 content. It doesn't need to drop fucking Poetics in 2019.
Yeah, that's really...
Allied Seals I appreciate because those there's enough ways to use those.
Mm-hmm.
But I want it to be... I don't care if it's level 50 content. Make it capped tomes. You've got 8 bajillion other ways to obtain capped tomes. Why does this, because that's level 50, just need to be Poetics? I don't care.
3.0?
They're never going to do it because then it would be because then you'd have a new player who gets to 50, gets this, and all of a sudden they're earning capped tomes and they're not even max level.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm max level on something, I'd like to earn capped tomes instead of pose. So
What about gear and accessories and shit?
Or something. I don't know. I'm not a fan of getting pose.
It's funding. It's basically funding your way through the carnival.
That would, yeah, but they gave me a full 130 left side set, so I don't fucking care. The Poetics are being used to get the right side, if anything. Like, if you somehow don't have the Poetics for right side Blue Mage stuff, and that'll probably be the case going forward. I don't know. I just giving pose and something you introduced in the game in 2019 is kind of just I don't know. It just doesn't resonate with me very much from a reward structure. They said it was deliberately like weak rewards because they just wanted to get people familiar with it, but I don't know. I can't. I don't want it. I just don't want it to be pose. I don't see why we're giving pose for fucking rewards in 2019. I'm just saying. That's how I feel. Anyway, weekly challenges. They're pretty fun.
Good idea. Yeah.
I want that in dungeons and raids and shit. I want every week for a max level dungeon to get marked with a weekly challenge that has you approach it with like a set of rules you wouldn't normally approach it with, and give you bonus, give you bonuses and shit. That's how I feel. And this is, I don't know, there's just all these ideas there that I want everywhere else. Which is fucked up because it's how everyone else feels about Blue Mage. Everyone's like, yeah, make Blue Mage in the rest of the game. I'm like, no, put the carnival shit in the rest of the game. That first before your job, all right?
I agree with that, yeah. I honestly agree with that. Like, they could put Blue Mage in the rest of the game, but if they did, like, it'd be fucking boring. Like, at its base level, like, sitting down and doing a Blue Mage rotation on a dummy or whatever, it's fucking awful. It's so boring.
Well, I feel like that's because they had to focus on giving us so many of the same spell with different elements just for the carnival.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think they need to do that
absolutely.
going into the next 80 spells. Like, the next 80 spells don't need to be another plane cracker or another flamethrower or something, or some shit like that.
They're gonna be.
There's gonna be some. There's at least a wind one.
Yeah, they're gonna be, or there's gonna be one other skill that they're just gonna have to clone for every element.
Please don't. I don't want it.
But like aesthetically, it's really boring. You know, I just think like they introduced Samurai and Red Mage, which was so flashy and had such cool rotations and sort of dipping in and out and all that. Like really fun and satisfying to play. And the only thing that is satisfying about Blue Mage is again the content and the way that you have to approach the problem solving for the content,
but not the individual skills.
Yeah, the individual skills and the way they work together is
it doesn't matter in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But I just think that if they took Blue Mage as it is right now and just made it not limited, who would main it? Like, it'd be boring.
Dude, I'd love to go through a level 70 dungeon with fucking Doom. That's all.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay, all right. I'll give you that. But it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work in a level 70 dungeon.
It would work on the trash.
Yeah, but if it did, then it would be broken.
Yeah,
like they couldn't have
it. It's dungeon trash. It was broken a long time ago.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah. And that kind of is the last major point about Blue Mage is does it really like based on your getting your hands on it, and I'm not talking about direct one-to-one implementation of Blue Mage as it is now to a level 70 point. Like obviously changes would have to be made. But after playing it, and I'm gonna go to Slyh first because Ethys and I have been rambling on. Do you really think it deserves to be limited outside of the extra workload it would do to like bring it up to 70 and more job quests and the way all the other jobs are paid? Like from a gameplay perspective, do you really think it needs to be limited?
After my experience?
Yes.
I'd say so.
Why?
Because again, like content wise, it reminds me of a little bit of Eureka in the fact that, it's allowing us to do some of the quote unquote broken, stupid shit that we wouldn't otherwise be allowed to do normally.
Now, see, I'm gonna have to hit you with a thing here, though. I agree when it lets us do it, but there's plenty of times it doesn't.
Okay.
The point, so you made 2 points on stage. The one that you're referring to now is it would be too overpowered. Where he gave the example of using level 5 death against Omega. That doesn't fucking work in the game. It doesn't work now. It's not going to work when we get level 5 death. It's not going to work when we get to Omega.
But missiles.
I get that it was hyperbole, but if that's your reason, then let us go nuts with the fucking thing. I don't see why certain stupid OP shit shouldn't work on the whole.
It loses some of its luster when you let us go completely nuts. And then,
no, that's the whole luster of the job to me. That was part of the class fantasy I was presented.
But
that's how I feel.
Oh, okay, all right. So let me pose this to Ethys. If it didn't, if they allowed us to go completely fucking crazy and had no limits whatsoever, like Mike is saying, would it be fun to you? Would it have that challenge?
No, I don't think it would. No.
So to me, that's the same as saying using self-destruct versus not using self-destruct, Like self-destruct has this limitless power.
Fun to do it without it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying there has to be
Like, at the
some
very
kind of-
least, I at least wish, like, your basic combos would work on a more important... If you're going to ask me to kill Ifrit hard mode, let more than 8 of my spells work against him.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's the problem, is that, like, these encounters have been designed so that they're immune to CC.
Right.
Yeah.
Because...
That's how they were originally designed, first of all.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're experimenting with, like, CC being important and integral at the beginning of ARR, and it was just, like, frustrating players, and it was, like, narrowing compositions and stuff like that. So it just wasn't floating. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution would be. I mean, maybe, I guess you could make it so that if you're only going in with Blue Mage, then suddenly, like, you know, all the rules are out the window and you can silence and stun the shit out of Ifrit, like, ad nauseum. But that wouldn't be as much fun. I like the idea that you can, there's like some basic rules, like in a boss, right? You can doom the ads or missile the ads or whatever and
freeze
CC the
the
shit
ads.
out of them. Yeah, or freeze the ads, exactly. But you can't do that to the boss. And I feel like that's enough to give you that sense of power and being like, oh damn, like, I couldn't do this with any other job. This is fucking awesome. This is so cool. But at the same time, not making the boss and subsequently the whole encounter a complete face roll, right?
Right.
So I think it's in a, like, pretty good place, honestly, in regards to those sorts of rules and the way they apply to bosses.
I'm just saying, if that's a reason you've given me why it needs to be limited and it doesn't work that way, then I suddenly don't accept that reason for it being limited.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I just think it needs to be limited because if it wasn't limited, it would be fucking boring, honestly.
I think that obviously if it wasn't limited, it wouldn't be designed this way. And
Exactly.
it would be designed kind of like our traditional cookie cutter, you know, whatever. Like, I accept that. I accept that that's a good reason. That may be a good reason to argue for it being limited.
Well, it's like I keep saying, if it wasn't limited, I get it to level 70 and I'd probably never play it again.
About 8
Like,
to 10% of about 8 to 10% of people would probably play. That's the average number for someone who has something at 70 who mains it.
Right. And I think this is the point that Yoshida was trying to make when he first announced it. And announced it was going to be limited, is that they had a choice between making a real Blue Mage or making something that was
that
Blue
statement
Mage
really hurts. A real Blue Mage, and then
well, you know what I mean. It's
yeah.
like a real Blue Mage versus something that is Blue Mage themed, but is just another ranged DPS. You know, and they obviously decided that they couldn't really do the latter, and that the people that wanted Blue Mage wanted something more like what we've been playing with this week, and I think that that's probably true.
Okay, well, that's one point that he made as to why it would be limited. What was the other one? Oh, the other one was, this one is kind of on 50-50 on. They didn't want to risk you not having a certain skill going into content.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Yoshida, I'm going to be honest with you. I've done a lot of dungeons in my days. Sometimes I wish they didn't have the skill as an excuse not to be using it. Because they're not using the skills they're supposed to be using anyway, a lot of people. Like when a black mage doesn't use fire in a dungeon, I'd feel a lot better knowing he just hadn't unlocked it yet. So like with Blue Mage, it's like, I don't know if that's the dev team's job to police that versus our job to police that.
No, it's not. I mean, I was finding yesterday, like, doing these 8-man Titan runs, I was having people in chat being like, oh, why isn't this guy using this skill and that skill? And I'm like, probably just hasn't unlocked it. Like, isn't that the point of this? Like, are we seriously gonna start down this road where we start excluding Blue Mages from Blue Mage only parties because they don't have a particular skill? It's like, no, that's stupid, right?
Right.
I just feel like they already have job quests that go, yeah, go learn that spell for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You've done it. You've literally incorporated the thing that pushes people to learn the spells you want them to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to, and by the way, the 5 spells you need to learn before going into the Mass Carnival, of them, one is a good leveling spell, and the other one you'll probably spam in the carnival. And the rest are just like, I can do some things with these, but Why?
Matter.
Like,
So you think we could literally just have it unlimited and have the job quest be go and find this mob and learn this spell?
I think we could. Obviously, I'm not saying that if you took these exact 49 spells and moved the job up to level 70, it would function in any way. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying their reasons for it being limited don't hold well with me because I'm not seeing that in their finished design.
Okay.
Do you think the relevancy of spells at like certain levels, how you did the quest and got the spells, do you think if the spells were different, if the spells actually mattered, like they actually mean something and they were kind of required in a way for you to kind of get through, do you think that would have made a difference?
Sorry to everyone watching. I just got a Steel series. I got to update the software. just got a little ding. That's me, not you. Don't worry. Yeah, I do think if they did that, it would just be it would be fine. I mean, I don't think that Blue Mage being unlimited and it learning skills in the open world are mutually exclusive. I did before we played it, and now after seeing the implementation, I don't think they need to be mutually exclusive. I don't think... Listen, somebody brought up, you could still take classes into current content. You could queue into fucking Orbone tonight and get a gladiator in there. That motherfucker doesn't have half his spells, but he's allowed in.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same fucking thing.
But he also can't, like, doom all the ads.
I'm aware of that. I can't doom half the bosses anyway. Those ads fall over in such a way, if you could doom them, I probably wouldn't fucking notice the difference.
All right.
I don't know. I just feel like outside of some clear... Like, Blue Mage also has some insane utility that, like, outside of breaking things, like, they have a reprisal on demand in the form of Bad Breath that if something's eligible can be a paralyze, a slow, a heavy... It could be all those things. They have a 30% magical trick attack for 10 seconds every 60 fucking seconds, which is ridiculous. Like, they have those kind of things that, like, I could apply them to the game itself, and even if they are, like, overtuned a bit. But I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see the reason why they needed to be limited outside of this would have taken significantly more dev time than other jobs normally do. So we'll go this route and we can develop it over time instead of spending 2 years straight developing the one job that 8% of our players will pick up maybe at level 70.
I think it's, again, I think their thinking was more like people are saying they want Blue Mage. What do they really want? What do they want that to be like? And they've tried to deliver something that's more like that and less like you say, a cookie cutter, sort of taking the aesthetic and making it fit into Final Fantasy XIV's MO, I feel like that's what they've really tried to do. And I think you're right that a lot of their reasoning is not as restrictive as perhaps they thought. And maybe they'll realize over the next, couple of months with more Blue Mage feedback that they could make it less restrictive. But I think that the way they've done it was a very kind of tentative and careful approach. It was like, let's put it out there and see what people do with it and see how people kind of take to it, rather than just being like, all right, Blue Mage, off you go, have fun. Like, I think being careful about it, making sure that they're releasing it in such a way that it doesn't like immediately break the game was a smart way to approach it. I think approaching it cautiously, approaching it tentatively was the right way to go. And I think that this kind of feedback that we're talking about, they'll take that in stride, surely, right?
I'd hope. Because I want to keep enjoying it, because despite my problems with it, I had fun. I won't deny that. But I have some very open criticisms about it as well. Sly, any last thoughts on this? Limited versus unlimited? Anything you got to get off your chest?
I'm fine with it the way it is. I mean, like, going into FanFest, coming out of FanFest after everybody saw the reveal and you had that disappointment in comparison to now, I still feel the same way. I'm glad it's implemented the way it is. and I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff, more content for it in the near future. Like this, there's a such thing as too much power. There's a such thing as, going a little bit overboard. So I think this would be one of the cases where if it weren't limited, it would suffer from. It would suffer from, I feel, the same thing that Samurai suffered from at the beginning of Stormblood.
What, no utility? Because it definitely won't suffer from that. That's definitely not a problem for Blue Mage.
No. But it'd be that content that everybody would do, and you would have the issue where nobody else would want to do anything because, hey, we hit Blue Mage. I want to do Blue Mage. I want to do all this Blue Mage shit, and it's so good. Why aren't you bringing a Blue Mage? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why aren't you?
That's you mean more like Dragoon now? Because if a bard's in a party and he doesn't see a Dragoon, that motherfucker's leaving.
He's gone. Yeah, exactly. So, why the fuck don't we have a Blue Mage in our comp?
I mean, that's going to happen, though, when you have 8 jobs in a raid and 15 plus jobs in the game. No matter what, someone's getting left out. I had someone bring up that, honestly, having 4 tanks would probably be healthier for the game than having 3, because then there isn't just one lone fucker getting pointed out.
Mm-hmm. He's got a friend on the bench with him.
Yeah. I kind of agree with
okay, so in terms of job composition and balancing and stuff like that, the game's in the best place it's ever been in. Can we agree on that?
Can we agree on what?
The game's in terms of balancing, the game's probably in the best.
Oh yeah, job balances. Yeah. It's just class fantasy that's a bit questionable on a couple of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So throwing Blue Mage into that mix again was gonna make a big
but throwing any job and every job, every new expansion's always gonna do that. We're gonna be saying this in 6-7 months when Shadowbringers comes out. The balance on this is all fucked up. It's so clearly worse. Something's gonna get the short end of the stick. Maybe it's the new jobs. Maybe it's the old ones. So something's always gonna be screwed. No, nothing's ever gonna fully escape the MMO fuckery of balance. It's just not a winning. It's not a winning game without complete homogenization at the very least.
I don't know. I think it remains to be seen. I think that we have every reason to believe the balancing for Shadowbringers is going to be really good, honestly, because they've just been getting better and better and better at balancing roles and balancing jobs without use, like you say, homogenizing them too much, making sure they do still have distinct identities.
Now, I do want to give the dev team a bit of credit. I said I didn't really agree with their decisions on limited versus unlimited, but Ethys, earlier you brought up an exploit that's been a pretty hot topic with Blue Mage for the past week.
Right.
In that you are able to kill a monster on one job, like a red mage, and swap to Blue Mage before getting the EXP credit, and then keep doing that to power level the job.
This has been an exploit that has always been in the game.
Yes.
Since the beginning of ARR.
It just wasn't as prevalent because we weren't one-shotting mobs, nor were overworld monsters much in the way of a considerable method for experience points.
Yeah. So why did they not fix this before implementing Blue? Why did they not anticipate this? Why was this not considered? Why was this not tested?
They said they were.
Who's fucking surprised? Show of hands. Who's surprised that people are doing this? Is anyone over at Square Enix surprised that people are doing this?
I was surprised to figure out how it worked, because when I first heard of this, I thought it was like the Pagos Light trick, right? Where you change. Yeah. It's not like the Pagos Light trick. It's part of the Pagos Light trick, but the main problem so the way the game is designed right now is when you enter combat and you gain aggro, upon the monster dying, there's a 3-second delay before you're allowed to change jobs again. The reason that this exploit is more powerful is because when you one-shot a monster, it never goes on your aggro list, so it subverts that restriction and lets you change jobs ahead of the server tick, which is part of it.
Yeah. They don't need to change anything about the way you get experience. They just need to change the way and the timescale over which you can change jobs.
Yeah, and they acknowledged that this was something they knew, but it just was never relevant. So it was like on the back burner. And I appreciated that the dev team openly called it an exploit, asked players not to do it, but said we're not going to ban anyone because it's our fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't give them credit for ignoring it, but I give them credit for not being like, well, that's an exploit. Fuck them. Let's ban them all. And at that point, they couldn't have done that because they would have banned so
but they're also like making an announcement to anyone that doesn't know about
what
that
it is.
exploit
Yeah.
yet, you know, that's like, everyone's like, oh shit, there's this exploit that we don't get banned for. Let's fucking go. Let's do it. You know, stupid.
I think it's still right to report someone if they're doing what you guys are talking about, like pulling your mobs while you're trying to like level or do stuff out in the open world.
Oh, that's shitty. Yeah,
I think that's harassment. I mean, you could that kind of. This is kind of like the ACT of exploits kind of thing, where like as long as you don't talk about it, kind of thing.
It falls under one of two things. They could be doing it maliciously, or they could say like, "Hey, you might need help." I'm like, "No, I don't need help, but thank you, but no, I'm good, just."
I just don't know why they didn't fix it before they implemented Blue Mage, and they clearly just didn't expect players to abuse it.
It's kind of like the Chocobo.
This has happened. Like the Chocobo thing as well. Like this has happened so many times, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we know this is an exploit," but like people won't do it. People are cool. Like whatever.
Are we really?
The Chocobo thing they said was intentional, but they just didn't expect people to kind of tackle it the way that they did. So they have to. Thursday, it's getting reverted. So
right, yeah, and again, it's like really, you just didn't think people were going to abuse it. All right, okay,
sure.
I was just glad that the dev team didn't take "we're going to ban you" stance because it was their own fault.
Yeah, and they couldn't. Like they'd have to ban like 1 million people.
Yeah, it would be a lot of people getting banned. But it's still, you know, sometimes there's a degree of pride where, you know, somebody does something against the rules of the game and, you know, you look at that and go, nope, not allowed. See you. And you suspend them or ban them or whatever it is. But they took a different stance. They took good, they took responsibility for it. And I just, I appreciate that.
I feel like they've done this a few times where they've been like, we're not going to ban anyone, but please don't do this.
Yeah, I was still like, they're like, well, now that we've told you how to do it and we're told you we're not going to ban you for it, please don't do it. It's like,
what was the last one of these that we were laughing about?
Well, definitely not Hunger Max. Hunger Max, they banned people.
I was about to say Hunger Max, but no.
They banned people for Hunger Max.
They did.
Yeah.
But they also said like, there's this thing and like, here's how you do it. Now please don't do it. And it's like, you fucking serious?
Yeah, and Hunger Max was a lot more, I guess, destructive in terms of game balance than killing an overworld monster and changing jobs is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No, I don't think they ever publicly acknowledged how to do the Pomander thing that they.
No, they didn't. They didn't make a statement about that.
No, that's a whole different thing. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to call that to attention because I was pretty happy to see that. Also, Ifrit Normal, I guess, will be fixed Thursday too because you're supposed to be able to learn Eruption. People have learned Eruption from it, but that's at least one primal you can do in a full Blue Mage party by your fucking self. So, and I'm gonna go solo Ifrit Hard Mode after this for a YouTube video. So
nice.
It's gonna be a long dude. You have to cast 1,000 Needles 322 times to kill Ifrit Hard Mode.
Jeez.
That's assuming you do. That's assuming you do absolutely no damage from any other source. It takes 322 casts of 1,000 Needles to kill him, and you can probably do about 4. Well, I mean, obviously you're capped out. It's about 5.5 seconds to cast it with enough spell speed. So it's just.
So how do you destroy the nails? Like what else?
You unmighty guard, nuke one down, and then go back and then mighty guard, and you can survive. Actually, with vending accessories, you can actually survive 4 nails with Diamondback.
Oh yeah,
it does about 9,300 damage. I think it was.
Okay.
So if you have just over that, the only problem is you would survive and then have 200 HP and need to white wind 6,000 times to survive. So you probably don't. But with 1 nail destroyed, you only take 1,000 damage with Diamondback. So.
All right. But you reckon it's going to take 45 minutes to kill?
Well, I'm going to say 15 minutes to get build Echo and then another 30 minutes to kill it.
Are you going to...
You could totally do it without Echo, but my God, do you not want to? Trust me. Yeah, you're gonna have to HP pot, the fucking thing after you do it with 4 nails. I'm gonna give it a shot, but it takes about 20 minutes to get to. The big thing with Echo is it gives you enough HP to stand in eruptions and just keep casting 1,000 Needles. So you can usually get like 4 casts of 1,000 Needles off before needing to White Wind. So that's 4,000 plus primal spells.
Good.
Plus primal spells.
Good. Yeah.
I'm just looking for stupid things to do. Okay, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I just like doing stupid things. Okay. All right. Is there anything else we want to discuss with Blue Mage? Anything else before we wrap up? I think we've been pretty thorough.
Yeah. Thorough.
Do we have a wish list for any other limited jobs, or do we want them to just?
I'm in the boat. They'd rather you should just do unlimited jobs. Here's my thing. I would just do unlimited. Just the concept. It's been fun, but your grounds for doing it haven't held through for me. I can't possibly wish for you to do another one. If I don't believe Blue Mage needs to be limited, there's no reason I should believe that any of the other things they name should be limited. Blitzballer can be limited. That one can be limited. You have to collect Blitzball. You have to collect teammates. There you go.
But happy say we do Shot in the Dark. We do get another limited job.
It's Beastmaster and Puppet Master. They named them. Collect pets, collect parts for your automaton. Like, that's it. That's what it's going to be. The real question is, do they then also just get their own stages in the Masked Carnival? Or is there like
something completely different?
Do they do a grouped version of the carnival where all the limited jobs can team up and do carnival shit together? I don't know.
No, I feel like they do something different because Masked Carnival is kind of, relegated for Blue Mage.
Hey, if we put on a show, they'll let anyone. Dude, Puppet Masters look swag. Have you not seen that artifact gear? Dude, they're ready to put on a show. That's actually what they're showmen. That's what they are. The automaton is supposed to be for putting on shows. And then they use it to fuck people up. There you go. They put on a little puppet show. Dances and everything. It spins around like Dancer. Good to go. Beastmaster, I don't know. They would have to do like rock, paper, scissors with pets. Like Tiger, beasts are strong against this. Kind of like Lords of Verminion does it. I hate to say it.
I was about to say that. Beastmaster Endgame is going to be Lords of Verminion.
Yeah, pretty much. I would just prefer no more limited, personally. You haven't proven your point with me with Blue Mage's implementation. So that's how I feel. What about you, Sly?
I'm down for Puppet Master / Beastmaster. I don't see any other jobs that could work in a limited capacity.
I think chemist could work. Yeah, have to craft shit for your abilities.
We call that alchemist.
Yeah, but like having to use like limited kind of crafting stuff.
We call those Hamlets,
that'd be a nightmare. That would suck. Yeah. That would be a nightmare. But like having abilities, like having a super powerful ability, but being like, oh, I've only got like 30 of these because I was only grinding my gathering for an hour, so I can only use this 30 times.
Chat says it's blooming the job gatekeeper. Got to throw him wide.
Yes. Oh, perfect. Because there's only so many gates. And I don't know how we haven't figured that out yet.
There's three every hour.
Yeah.
You're right. There are only so many.
It's very limited. We're going on like we can't throw wide all the gates, but we could throw wide literally all the gates in no time.
This show always gets so quality in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it does.
Every week. Every fucking week.
All right.
Okay, are we done talking about Blue Mage then?
Yeah, sure.
Good.
All right, well then, before we start wrapping things up, reminder there will not be a show next week because Kingdom Hearts takes precedent over State of the Realm. It has been decreed, thus so it shall be. That, and it's a few days before FanFest, so honestly, I think we're all just kind of anticipating FanFest anyway. So we'll have a show the following week. I believe that would be February 5th, and that is going to be a show about whatever comes out of the European FanFest. So that's when the next show will be. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else to announce. So, Ethys, thanks for joining us again this week.
Anytime, guys. And if any of you jabronis are at FanFest in Paris, then I will be there. So don't be a stranger.
Well, you can tell them that as I give you the opportunity to sign off, because that was where I was going with that one.
Okay, well, what I just said. Otherwise, you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Thanks for adopting the way that I do it.
All the places as Ethys Asher. It's really easy. Yeah, super easy. That's me. I love you. Mwah. What about Slyh?
I don't know if Sly's going to give you kisses, guys. I'm sorry.
Probably not. But you can find me on twitch.tv/Slyakagreyfox, Twitter @Slythefox, youtube.com/thevelvetroom, facebook.com/Slyakagreyfox. I won't be in Perry, so I can't give you hugs and kisses like Ethys, but I will be here in America. Yeah, I'll be on Kingdom Hearts next week when it comes out. I will be on Resident Evil 2 this Friday.
You can preload it tonight, I think.
Ready for the spoopies. Haps, where can they find you? Are you in America?
I am in America. I'm on the other side of America than Slyh, but I am in America. You can find me Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all Mr. Happy 1227. I too will be playing Kingdom Hearts 3 next week. For those who don't know my YouTube channel, if you go to youtube.com and do /Xehanort1227, it will point you to my YouTube channel. Because before I renamed it to Mr. Happy, that was the hyperlink that I gave it when I would upload old Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix imported, kill videos from, whatever, 2007, 2008, whatever it was. And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've kind of kept my excitement lukewarm because it's been fucking 14 years since I played Kingdom Hearts 2, or since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. And so at this point, I just need to play it. And that's when I'll be excited while I'm playing it. And that's it. Because I've waited too fucking long. I can't play the games any more fucking times leading up to this game. It's been enough. All right? But I'll play it. And then it's FanFest. And then February, I think's got some fun stuff going on. I don't remember off the top of my head. But hopefully we've got some fun stuff. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for us this week. Thank you again to our sponsors, SteelSeries and Patreon. And we will not see you next week, so see you in 2 weeks from this episode. So thank you, everyone, for watching, and we will see you then.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Is that your bird?
Yeah.
No, there's a fucking owl outside. It's the middle of the day, and I can hear an owl.
I've been hearing that for the last 10 minutes, and I've been like...
No, it's a fucking owl. Yeah, it's been going off for the last 10 minutes. Like, fucking drunk. Jeez. Like, it's 10 to 1 in the afternoon.
I'm going to leave this part in just so anyone watching the end knows there's an owl outside.
Like, what was that?